look up, but that's just a snake. Then, later on that
From unexpected people, always be kind.
A question. Mommy.
From unexpected people, always be kind.
A question. Mommy, how did the human race...
Screams again. Then they kidnapped her daughter and put her in the car. Suddenly the police screams again. Then they kidnapped her daughter and put her in the car. Suddenly the police arrived, blocked and arrested the kidnappers. She was shocked because she hadn't called any police and no one was close by. Then she sees the homeless boy and his mom hugging her daughter at the corner. Turns out they had secretly seen the incident and quickly alerted the police. Your help may come from unexpected people. Always be kind.
A little girl asked her mother a question. Mommy, how did the human race begin? The mother answered, well, dear, God made Adam and Eve, and they had children, and so all of mankind was made. The little girl pondered her mother's answer. But the next day, the little girl asked her daddy the same question. Daddy, how did the human race begin? The father answered, it's like this, baby girl. Many years ago, there were monkeys who really loved to breed, and from them, the human race evolved. This confused the little girl, as both parents answered the question with a different answer. So the next day, she returned to her mummy and said, Mummy, you said that human beings were created from Adam and Eve, but Daddy said they evolved from monkeys. The mother answered, well, dear, it's really very simple. I told you about my side of the family, and your daddy told you about his.
Jim and Edna were both patients in a mental hospital. One day, while they were walking past the hospital swimming pool, Jim suddenly jumped into the deep end. He sank to the bottom of the pool and stayed there. Edna promptly jumped in to save him. She swam to the bottom and pulled Jim out. When the director of nursing became aware of Edna's heroic act, she immediately ordered her to be discharged from the hospital, as she now considered her to be mentally stable. When she went to tell Edna the news, she said, Edna, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you're being discharged, since you were able to rationally respond to a crisis by jumping in. I have concluded that your act displays sound-mindedness. The bad news is that Jim, the patient you saved, hung himself in his bathroom with the belt of his robe right after you saved him. I am so sorry, but he's dead. Edna replied, he didn't hang himself. I put him there to dry. How soon can I go home?
A billionaire makes an offer to his employee. The boss says, you seem like a nice guy. If you marry my daughter, I'll make you a partner, give you an expense account, a Ferrari, and $1 million annual salary. The employee asks, what's wrong with her? The boss shows him a picture, and she's hideous. The boss says, it's only fair to tell you, she's not only ugly, she's also as dumb as a brick. The employee replies, I don't care what you offer me. It's not worth it. The boss says, I'll still give you all the perks, but make the salary $3 million a year and buy you a penthouse condominium on Park Avenue as well. After a bit of thought, the guy accepts the offer, figuring he can put a bag over her head when they have sex. About a year later, the employee buys an original Salvador Dali painting, and he's about to hang it on the wall. He climbs a ladder and yells to his wife, bring me a hammer. She mumbles, get the hammer, and she fetches the hammer. The guy says, get me some nails. She mumbles, get the nails, and she gets him some nails. The guy starts hammering a nail into the wall, hits his thumb, and screams, fuck. She mumbles, get the bag.
3 sons left home. Years later, they get back together to discuss the gifts they were able to give their elderly mother for her 90th birthday. The first said, I built a big house for our mother. The second said, I sent her a Mercedes with a driver. The third smiled and said, you know how mom enjoys the Bible and you know she can't see very well. I sent her a brown parrot that can recite the entire Bible. It took 20 monks in a monastery 12 years to teach him, but it was worth it. Mom just has to name the chapter and verse and the parrot will recite it. Soon thereafter, Mom sent out her letters of thanks. Hilton, the house you built is so huge. I live in only one room, but I have to clean the whole house. Marvin, I am too old to travel. I stay home all the time, so I never use the Mercedes. Dearest Melvin, she wrote to her third son, you were the only son to have the good sense to know what your mother likes. That chicken was delicious. 67-year-old Mickey was in the bar having a drink, and he couldn't help but notice the young and sexy barmaid. Mickey slapped a $10 bill on the bar and said, I bet I can keep an eye on this drink while I go to the bathroom. The barmaid knew that the bathroom was around the corner, so she accepted the bet. Mickey took out his glass eye, placed it beside the drink, and went to the bathroom. When he returned, Mickey wanted to make another bet with the barmaid. I bet you I can bite my own ear. The bet was again accepted for $10. Mickey took out his false teeth and nipped his ear. Okay, he said, I'll give you a chance to get your money back. I bet I can make love to you so tenderly that you won't feel a thing. Maid definitely knew about, so she again accepted the bet. They went into the back, and Mickey lifted her skirt. Halfway into the act, the barmaid giggled. I can feel you! I won the bet! Oh well, said Mickey. You win some, you lose some. 83-year-old Philip was just going to bed when he looked at his bedroom window and saw that there were 3 men breaking into his garage. He called the police and said, Get over here quickly. There's 3 burglars trying to break into my garage. The dispatcher replied, I see, sir. Is your garage detached from your house? He said, Yes, but these bastards are breaking in and stealing from me. The police dispatcher said, All patrols are busy. You should lock in and stay indoors. An officer will be along when one is available. Philip said, Okay. He hung up the phone. After 30 seconds, he called the police again. Hello? I just called you a few seconds ago about the burglars breaking in. Well, you don't have to worry anymore, because I just shot them. And he hung up. Within 5 minutes, 6 police cars, a SWAT team, a helicopter, a paramedic, and an ambulance showed up and caught the burglars red-handed. One of the police officers said to Philip, I thought you said that you'd shot them. Philip replied, I thought you said nobody was available.
A teacher asks the class, if 3 birds are sitting on a fence and I shoot down one, how many are left? A boy raises his hand and says none. The teacher asks why. They would all fly away after hearing the gunshot. The teacher says, the answer is 2, but I like the way you think. The boy then asks the teacher, 3 women walk out of an ice cream shop. One is eating with a spoon, one is sucking it, and one is biting it. Which one is married? The teacher says, the one sucking it. The boy says, no, the one wearing the ring, but I like the way you think.
A teacher enters the class, but the problem is, as soon as she enters the class, she asks little Timmy, if I give you 3 cats and another 3 cats and another 3, then how many cats would you have, Timmy? To which little Timmy replies, I'd have 10 cats, madam. Confused, the teacher says, are you sure, Timmy? Listen again carefully. If I gave you 3 cats and another 3 cats and another 3, then how many would you have? On hearing this, little Timmy again says, I'd have 10 cats, ma'am. Furious, the teacher replies, all right. Let me put it to you a little bit differently. If I gave you 3 apples and another 3 apples and another 3, how many would you have? On hearing this, little Timmy smiles and replies, I'd have 9 apples, madam. To which the teacher happily says, that's correct, Timmy. Now, if I gave you 3 cats and another 3 cats and another 3, how many cats would you have? To which little Timmy replies, 10 cats. Now the teacher doesn't know what to do anymore. But then also she tries for the one last time. Timmy, if I give you 9 apples and 9 cats, how many apples and cats would you have? To which little Timmy replies, I'd have 9 apples and 10 cats, madam. Now the teacher completely lost it and she angrily says, Timmy, you idiot. How do you have 10 cats if I gave you only 9 cats, huh? Why do you keep saying 10? You stupid son of a... And even before she completes, Timmy stood up, looked at his teacher from top to bottom, took a deep breath and replies in his loudest voice possible, because I've already got a f***ing cat.
A boy took a purse from a shop and started to run. A lady comes out and shouted, Stop! Wait! But he didn't hear. An older boy standing nearby sees the boy running, and the lady standing and waving thought to himself, that boy must be a thief. He even looks like one. He started to pursue the boy, but he ran even faster. Stop there! Yelled the boy. Hey! Catch that thief! He beckoned on the other boys playing. They all turned around to chasing. One of the boys flung his shoe. It hits the boy's head, and he falls to the ground, twisting his ankle. The police arrived. Ah, that hurts, the boy cried bitterly. Why are you all chasing me? Quiet, you thief, replied the older boy. The officer asked, what happened? They explained to the officers everything they saw. The officers bound the boy to take him away. Suddenly, the shop owner finally caught up, panting and breathless. What's going on here? She asked. Ma'am, we finally caught the thief, replied the older boy proudly. What, thief? That's my son, said the lady. His dad forgot his wallet and car keys at the shop this morning. He's already late for his appointment, but my son picked up the wallet only. There was a girl whose dad always worked and never had time for her, and her mom was very sick in the hospital. With time, they started to go poor. Months later, her mom passed away and the dad went bankrupt. The dad searched hard for a job. One day, the girl saw a beautiful dress in the dad's luggage. Believing it was her mom's, she cut it to her size and wore it to surprise her dad, but he furiously scolded her. Few days after, the dad disappeared without leaving a note. Years passed. On her wedding day, a homeless man approached her for a hug, but she pushed him away and called the security. The man shouted, "It's me, your dad." She even got more mad. While he was dragged away, he dropped a letter on the floor. "Jane, my love, I can't believe how much you've grown now. Sorry daddy wasn't there for you all these years. Remember that dress I scolded you for? It was for my boss's wife, and it cost $10,000. Sadly, I was put in jail for 10 years because of it. Dad still loves you." When she learned the dad had spent all his money on her mom's hospital bill, she cried bitterly and rushed and took her father's hand, asking him to walk her down the aisle.
I couldn't believe my ears when my best employee said something so dirty to me. I am a CEO of a furniture company and a father of 2 beautiful daughters. On Wednesday, 3 of my employees completed a huge project that massively profited the company, so I thought of rewarding each of them with a bonus of $1,000. I called first employee to my cabin and said, "Here's your bonus for this massive success. Keep going. Good job." He left my cabin, jumping in joy. Then I called the second employee and gave him the bonus. He broke the lamp on my desk with his fist in excitement, as he was not used to getting such a huge bonus. And finally, I called my best employee who has been performing extremely well since the day he joined. I said to him, "Hey Timmy, come here." And then I hugged him and said, "Here is your huge bonus as usual. Keep going. Excellent job." He replied, "I don't want this bonus. I already have a lot of money in my bank account. I need something else this time." And then I asked him, "Well, anything for you, Timmy. Just ask." He replied, "Seriously, anything?" I replied, "Why not? Go on. Tell me what you want." And then pointing to my comfortable chair, he said, "I want to fuck both of your beautiful daughters at the same time, sitting on this chair with each of your daughters sitting on each of my legs, and I go completely wild at them for 2 straight hours." On hearing this, I impulsively slapped him and beat the hell out of him and obviously fired him, but I still can't believe how could he say something like that.
A mom is driving her daughter to her friend's house. Her daughter asks, "Mom, how old are you?" She says, "You know, you aren't supposed to ask a woman her age." The girl then asks, "Okay, well, how much do you weigh?" Her mother responds, "Honey, you should never ask a woman how much she weighs either." The girl then asks, "Okay, fine. One more question. Why did you and daddy get a divorce?" Her mom says, "Okay, that is enough. No more questions." The little girl is confused. Later at her friend's house, the little girl says, "I asked my mom 3 questions, but she wouldn't tell me anything." Her friend gets an idea. She says, "Okay, I think I know what to do. Find your mom's driver's license. It's like a report card. It says everything about her on it." Later that night, the girl sneaks into her mom's purse and takes her driver's license. A half hour later, she comes downstairs and up to her mom. "Hey mom, I know how old you are." Her mom says, "Oh really? How old?" The girl says, "You are 52. Her mom thinks, how could she have known that? When the girl says, "I also know that you weigh 120 pounds. How do you know all of this?" says her mom. When her daughter interrupts, "And I know why you and daddy got a divorce." "Okay, why is that?" The girl says, "I looked at your driver's license and it said you got an F in sex."
I asked my mom if I can take a bath with her when I was younger because I was scared to be alone. And she was like, "Sure, but just don't look up." And I agree. But sure enough, while we were taking the bath, I looked up and I said, "Whoa, what are those?" And she was like, "Those are just headlights." And then I looked down and I said, "Whoa, what is that?" She was like, "Artie, that's just a bush." Then the next day my mom wasn't home, but I was scared to be alone, so I asked my dad if I could take a shower with him instead. My dad was like, "Okay, Artie, but just don't look up." And sure enough, when we got in there, I looked up and I said, "Whoa, what is that?" He was like, "Artie, I told you not to look up, but that's just a snake." Then later on that night, I was trying to fall asleep, but I got scared. So I walked up to my parents' room and I knocked on the door. And then I asked my parents, I was like, "Can I please sleep with you guys? I'm scared." And they were like, "Yeah, you can. Just make sure you don't look under the covers." I was so scared, I was like, okay, I promise I won't." And then I jumped in the bed with them. Sure enough, like 10 to 15 minutes pass. And I'm starting to get really bored, so I look under the covers and I'm in complete shock. I start screaming. I'm like, Ma, turn on the headlight. The snake is in the bush." I repeat, the snake is in the bush.
One day, Billy's teacher asked him, "I heard your mom had a baby. What did she have?" Billy paused for a moment and confidently said, "I think she had a bicycle." "Billy, you know that your mom didn't have a bicycle. What did she have?" "Maybe it was a tricycle." "Billy, don't lie to me. I'm taking you to the principal's office." The teacher escorted Billy to the principal's office and explained what happened. The principal looked sternly at Billy and said, "Stop lying, Billy. You know your mom didn't have a bicycle or a tricycle. What did your mother have?" Billy looked up and shouted, "Well, maybe she had a go-kart." The frustrated principal said, "That's it. I'm calling your mother right now." Soon, Billy's mother arrived. It seems that Billy has decided to start telling lies. His teacher asked him what you recently had, and he said a bicycle, then a tricycle, then a go-kart. Billy's mother teared up and then said, "No. Sadly, I had a miscarriage." Billy sat up straight and said, "I knew that damn thing had wheels." A wife tells her husband, "Honey, let's play a game." He says, "Okay, what's the game about?" She replies, "If I mention a country, you run to the left side of the room and touch the wall. And if I mention a bird, you run to the right side of the room and touch the wall. If you run in the wrong direction, you'll give me all your salary for this month. Okay?" He thinks for a second, then agrees.